You are watching the Notre Dame Recruiting Update with Mike Singer. I'm your host, Trey Yanity. We join you each and every Thursday. Excited to be back this week. We took last week off, of course, with the Thanksgiving holiday. Hope you guys had a happy Thanksgiving. You guys are enjoying this winter weather as we creep into December now. A lot of recruiting news, obviously. National Signing Day is this month, if you can believe that. I know, Mike, you might not be able to believe that yet. I can't at this point that we're already here in December. A lot to talk about, of course, with National Signing Day, with some other guys we expect to commit here coming up soon, and all kinds of news surrounding Notre Dame guys still in the playoffs that are committed to the program at the moment. Before we do that, guys, I want to tell you about Blue and Gold. Go check it out today, blueandgold.com. Become a member on our website because we're going to be covering all of this stuff. National Signing Day. The transfer portal, of course, going crazy right now. Going to be a crazy week coming up here. So be sure to get plugged in over there. And of course, guys, as always, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We haven't been able to take as many questions in the last few weeks, and we really want to get to some of your questions today. So be sure to subscribe so you can get in the comments section and get us those questions. You got to be a subscriber to comment. So be sure to do that and hit the like button as well. It's as simple as clicking that thumbs up there on your screen. Mike, Thanksgiving is always such a fun holiday. How was your Thanksgiving this year?
It was good. Yeah, had we do Thanksgiving lunch with my in-laws, and then Thanksgiving dinner with my family. Thanksgiving lunch was at 3:45. I mean, goodness great! It takes forever to cook green bean casserole and sweet potato casserole and the turkey, I guess, and then dinner at 5. So quick turnaround, but it was good. It was a good time with the family. Yeah, got home safe, so it was a good time.
How do you have the space in your stomach for all that food, Mike? One meal was plenty for me this year.
A little bit here and there. Big dessert, like I call it a dessert, like my fourth meal kind of deal. I just didn't eat a ton and both, and then ate a little bit more later. But yeah.
So you got to manage. Black Friday can be an interesting day depending on how much food you decide to intake there on Thanksgiving. What kind of pie did you have?
Dude, the pecan pie is a killer. It's so good. That's my favorite. Apple pie, pumpkin pie, just the usual, but the pecan pie.
That's the go-to.
Wow. That's it for me, man.
I like it. I'm a pumpkin pie guy myself. Guys, let us know what kind of pie you had, or maybe what was your favorite part about Thanksgiving. And again, happy Thanksgiving, guys. Thank you for joining us here. We've got a lot of recruiting to get into. I see my guy John Murray already getting in the comment section. It is a great day to be Irish. I'm sure it's a cold morning there in Montana. Thank you for joining us from all the way out west there. And as we get into the show tonight, Mike, I want to talk about a potential commitment to Notre Dame later on. Caleb Smith will be making his announcement today at 6 p.m. Eastern. What is the RPM saying at this point, and how big of a get would this be for Notre Dame?
Yeah. So, we're recording this. It's currently 1:03 p.m. Eastern time. So maybe you're watching this back and the news is already out there. So just would recommend you headed over to, blueandgold.com and on3.com to kind of see what the result, or, even Caleb's on3 page as well, which will give you guys the information. But yeah, from Frisco, Texas, Reedy High School, about 6'1", 180 pounds, announcing his commitments at 6 p.m. Eastern time, like you said, between Texas Tech and Notre Dame. Kaleb is the spelling. I know our producer's pulling up his page. So our RPM is very much trending towards Notre Dame. It's well over 90% at this point. He had one offer, and that was from Texas Tech, and he committed to the Red Raiders back in February, and just kind of went through the process as a committed player. Took the summer official visit, took an unofficial in the spring, and everything was solid for Smith with Texas Tech. And then Notre Dame kept in touch throughout the fall quietly. This is a player who's only announced 2 scholarship offers, but the feeling has been that other schools have been recruiting him, but if he's not serious about them, he's kind of just shut it down a little bit. Now, I don't like being that guy. Be like, well, he's only got 2 offers, but in reality, he could have had 15. Like, I don't like being that guy. But I do think it's at least important to note that I think he's a better player than his offer sheet indicates. So Notre Dame entered the picture, offered him at the end of October, from what I'm told. And then the day before the Notre Dame Clemson game, he announced this on Twitter that he's decommitted from Texas Tech. And then what do you know? He's on a plane to South Bend, Indiana, to see Notre Dame beat Clemson. And the feeling kind of was that he would commit to Notre Dame right afterwards. That's at least what I was preparing for. And that game was what? Again, the 5th, and it's the first. You're looking at about a month later. And, that visit high kind of wears off. So it's like, what's the situation here? Why is he not committing yet? What's going on? So I do think there's a little bit reason for concern in terms of just like, did Texas Tech, that in-state school, get back in there? It's the program they've built a strong relationship with over such a long period of time and all that stuff. So I'm still rolling with Notre Dame here. Feel pretty good about the pick, but I do think the timing kind of leaves that door open for Texas Tech. But again, rolling with the Irish.
Yeah, it's interesting to talk about players like this that kind of fly under the radar here a little bit. And I see JoJo in the comments all the way from New York City. Thanks for being here with us today, JoJo. And if guys, you're a fan of the show like JoJo is, be sure to check out our super chat feature. That helps our page grow, our channel grow. By just giving us a simple tip there. So feel free to use that feature as well as we get into it here, guys. And the apple crumb pie, of course, Thomas, a classic in the Thanksgiving slate there. For a guy like Caleb Smith, what does Notre Dame say when they sit down with him and make that pitch? A guy that didn't collect a bunch of offers and a guy that is being offered by a school that has a lot of really talented wide receivers committed.
Yeah, I don't think it's a secret. It's what Notre Dame pitches to pretty much everyone. The combination of academics and athletics at Notre Dame. That's the generic pitch for every player. But with when you look at the receiver position specifically, I think schools could negatively recruit towards Notre Dame and say, well, why haven't those receivers been more involved? Why don't they have, like why is it always the tight ends that are making the big? Why would you go there just to be overshadowed by a tight end? The rebuttal is actually it's a recruiting pitch for Notre Dame. It's we throw to our tight ends because those are our best players. Come be here and we'll throw the ball to receivers and not as much time. We're throwing, like, we get the ball to our playmakers' hands. And if that's the running backs and tight ends, great. It just hasn't been the receiver position. I think this season has been, you've had a lot more of the younger guys get involved. You've seen Deion Colsey emerge. Jaden Thomas has emerged. You've seen, so there's, for the first time in a couple of years, it's like now although the receiver production might not be great, it's these younger guys who are catching the passes. So there's kind of the projection of excitement moving forward for the first time in a while. And this 2023 class is definitely going to be a part of it. I mean, there is room for these true freshmen to come in and play right away. I mean, you look at some of the guys in this class between Jaden Greathouse and Rico Flores, they seem to me like ready-made products. You can put them in the slot. You can put them out wide. They are just, again, kind of ready-made talents. Like Jaden Greathouse has been playing at the top level in Texas for 4 years. He's lost one game. He's never, I mean, they've won 3 straight titles and they're going for a 4th this winter. So again, you if you're Caleb Smith, you can come in. You're coming in with a great receiver class, but Notre Dame wants to spread the ball, or they want to run, a lot of 11 personnel. Now they don't, because again, the receiver position is not that strong right now and deep, but they want to bolster that room, play a ton of receivers, spread the ball around. And, if you're Caleb Smith, I mean, you're, no offense to Texas Tech, but you have a much better opportunity to win a national championship at Notre Dame than you do Texas Tech.
All day long. I think Under Armour schools are struggling in general right now, but Notre Dame is truly at the forefront. They're deciding between 2 of them here. And, you love guys like you talked about there, ready-made guys. We see a lot of that in this class. Guys like Jaden Greathouse. It's kind of the Dan Mullen school of thought there. Guys that have won in high school, guys that know how to win. I think you see a lot of that in this class, which is extremely exciting, and I'm very excited. Milton Fan 15 with a super chat. Thank you so much for getting in there and getting us your super chat, your question as well. We are going to get to that here as soon as we get through our rundown. You'll be first in line with our questions. Guys, thank you for getting in those comments. We got Paul, happy December from sunny Mexico. Wow, we got Montana, New York City, Mexico represented. Mike, that is what I love so much about the Notre Dame fan base. It is not just nationwide, worldwide, but you know what, Mike? There's only one place you can truly experience a game day at Notre Dame. And guess what, guys? That doesn't have to necessarily be in South Bend. You can do it now from the comfort of your home as well. Mike Brown's The Leprechaun's Game Day at Notre Dame is an officially licensed children's book that describes the beautiful pageantry of a football Saturday at Notre Dame. You can follow the Leprechaun on an adventure from step-off into the tunnel and onto Notre Dame's field as he leads the team to an Irish victory. All you have to do is visit www.lepgameday.com and enter the code BG22, like blue and gold, 22, to get your author signed copy today. Again, guys, that's lep-gameday.com, and just enter that code BG22. You're going to get a personally signed copy of the Leprechaun's Game Day at Notre Dame. So no matter where you are this holiday season, Mexico, Feliz Navidad, New York City, Montana, wherever, guys, you're going to have the chance to experience the Leprechaun's Game Day at Notre Dame. Again, guys, that is lep-gameday.com. Enter the code BG22. Thanks for getting that up there for us, Chris. And as we continue to roll it through here, we have Germany now on the line as well. I know we got the World Cup going on right now. I think we have the World Cup going on here in our comments section. Thank you, Lucas, for joining us today and getting in here with us. Great to see you. And, you know, great to see how this class has come together, Mike. I mean, what an outstanding class as a whole. We talked about the struggles of recruiting a quarterback at times, but overall, I think you feel really confident about this December the 21st National Signing Day this year. What else do Notre Dame fans need to expect that we are now in the month of December?
Yeah, so I think the last time we recorded a show, there was no Kenny Minchie commitment, right? Was that right before the Clemson game? Was our last show the day before?
I think it was maybe one. We did one right after there.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they had Kenny Minchie committed yet. And they didn't have Chris Tarrant committed yet. So you got two more commits there. And for folks watching that last episode, you know, I remember I got that text. Remember I got that text in the middle of the show?
Yeah, the mysterious text, Mike.
The mysterious text, which I was like, guys, it's nothing big. But I had been working for days and honestly weeks. And even if you want to go back to when Notre Dame was recruiting Kenny Minchie more in the summer, like months on trying to get, you know, as a reporter, you want to get close with people, you know, involved in the recruitment, whether it's the recruit, parents, high school coach, trainer, or whatever it is. I finally got in touch with this trainer and during the live show, and he texted me, he's like, yo, Mike, I'm going to set you up with Kenny. And I was like, so excited because finally. So, you know, I got an interview with Kenny about his commitment the day before he announced, and still working on getting to go see him throw in person, which, you know, just around this time of the year, there's always hurdles to try to, you know, make that work. So I'm trying to head up to the Nashville area at this point next week to see him throw. Which is kind of a side note. I mean, he's got the, you know, injured throwing shoulder that he had during the season, and then came back for the playoff game, and then came out the next game because it was bothering him a little bit. I'm told he's back throwing, so I really just think he's fine. So folks worrying about Kenny Minchie and his throwing shoulder, I mean, I guess you have every right to be concerned because, you know, you're Notre Dame fans, but and that's just what we do. But he should be fine. But yeah, so Notre Dame's at 25 commitments. I think Tarek was number 25. If they get, so Chris Tarek committed Sunday, flipped from Wisconsin, road grader offensive lineman, gave the Irish 25. That's not a full boat anymore. I mean, it's technically, if you're full 25, but you could definitely sign more than 25, and Notre Dame's going to do that. They again look likely to sign Caleb Smith. You know, when he commits to on what's today? Thursday, like him to land with Notre Dame. Brandon Hillman is a 4-star athlete from Virginia. do believe that Notre Dame looks good there. December 7th is his commitment date. He took an official to Kentucky. You've had North Carolina and Oklahoma, some of the schools involved there. But again, just 2 official visits that he's taken to my knowledge. And that's what we have per On3 as well. So I think Notre Dame gets him. I think that's at 27 commits. And Hillman would be a quarterback or a running back or a receiver or a safety, maybe a left guard. Like, he can do whatever the heck he wants. Brandon Hillman's just a freak athlete. So lots of different possibilities for Brandon Hillman. And then I still just, in my gut, this is more of a gut thing than like something that some source told me. It's kind of, gut feeling and reading in between the lines that Notre Dame's going to get some kind of surprise commitment. I think that they're going to have a shocker here before signing day. This is just not your Brian Kelly's Notre Dame. And Notre Dame did pull off some surprises like over the years. They've had some, I mean, Ron Paulus is not the greatest example, but when he signed with Notre Dame, no one saw that one coming, but not for the greatest reasons. Say that that's a different discussion for a different day. But I just think that this staff is so aggressive and they're looking at players. Like, I just saw Nebraska had a decommit. I forget the kid's name, but I know Notre Dame was interested in him a couple months ago. Like, could Notre Dame not go after him? They wanted to replace Keon Keeley at Viper. If the right Viper comes along, do they target that player? And what about, they usually take 2 tight ends. Do they side 8? There's this tight end that's popped up. We'll pair him with Cooper Flanagan. Who knows? Really, who knows at this point? So the three things to keep an eye on from now until signing day, like big picture wise, are landing Brandon Hillman, keeping her out for a potential surprise, and then keeping your commit solid. It seems like everyone is pretty locked in. Peyton Bowen's obviously the guy, the 5-star safety from Denton, Texas Geyer that, you got question marks about, and Oklahoma folks still think he's going to flip, and Notre Dame folks think he's going to stick. So, for several months now, it's still in just the we'll see category and what Peyton Bowen ends up doing. I still think Jade Lamar is worth monitoring. I saw an Oregon writer think that, the Ducks are still very much in the picture for, the running back from the Pacific Northwest. So I think he sticks, but that's another one worth monitoring. But yeah, everyone else seems really locked in. And Notre Dame has the number 3 class in the country right now. So the Irish have a good chance to sign their first top 5 class in 10 years. 2013 class was the number 3 class per the On3 consensus, I believe. So yeah, it can definitely be a really good class. And I'll also throw in, Trey, the transfer portal. I expect Notre Dame to be busy in the transfer portal. Did a video on Tuesday or Wednesday talking about, hey, Hudson Card is a guy to keep an eye on. I'm told that he is interested in Notre Dame. Some schools in the state of Texas will also be vying for him, but he likes Notre Dame, and I'm told that Notre Dame is very interested in potentially taking a transfer quarterback. As Chris, our producer, pulls up some of the names that are expected to be entering the transfer portal. I guess the portal, I missed this rule, Trey. You can fill me on it. So when was it that players, they can't officially enter until Monday, but was there like a cutoff date before? Because Jacob Lacey, a Notre Dame defensive lineman, he left Notre Dame in the fall and then was taking officials in the fall. So is there like a cutoff date or something?
From what I understand, and Chris may be able to get us a better answer here on the web, grad transfers are allowed to go ahead and make their announcement. I think there's some other stipulations as well. Certain players with certain rules like that, or certain age restrictions, I guess, once they get to becoming a grad student. But I think at this point, it really is just those guys with stipulations, and Mondays, and really when we see the lid blown off of the whole transfer portal.
Yeah, Trey, it's been fascinating to see, like, obviously I follow On3 Twitter, and it's nonstop. Every time I go on Twitter, someone's entering the portal, or announcing they're going to enter the portal. I mean, goodness gracious, excuse me.
You're yawning thinking about it. How
It's
tiring it can be.
Yeah, it's interesting. Notre Dame hasn't had anyone since the end of the season, but I think that's just a matter of time. They're going to have guys enter the portal. The ones you keep an eye on are the upperclassmen who just aren't getting any playing time, or a guy who's like a sophomore, or maybe he's going into his junior year and he's being passed up by a freshman. Like that's always kind of like a telltale sign of a player who is on transfer portal watch. So especially if there's like two or three. I said this on Wednesday show. Like this is strictly just an example. I have no idea if Chris Tyree is going to leave. Absolutely no idea. Not source, not anything. But that's just an example of he's a senior, and there are two sophomores who are getting a lot more touches and playing time than him. And then you have a freshman coming up who was a freshman this season, Jadarian Price, who I think might have taken even more carries from that trio if he didn't pick up an injury. So, and then you got three running backs coming in this class. So it's just kind of interesting. Like, again, I don't want to put that out there that he's transferring. I've got no idea, but that's just kind of an example of someone you would keep an eye on as a potential.
Yeah, I mean, the context clues are there at least. And I think there's mixed emotions when it comes to a lot of these guys. The guys like Tyree that, you kind of see the writing on the wall throughout this season and you kind of know the landscape moving forward. But you also want that guy to go, explore other opportunities and have success elsewhere as well. So.
Yeah, it's a great point, Trey. And it's kind of the same with a flip, right? Notre Dame has flipped, 5 players from other schools. You got Tarek. You got Dylan Edwards. Caleb Smith would be one if he flips. Kenny Minchie. All these guys who were once committed to other schools are now committed to Notre Dame. And you're like, yeah, you guys made the right choice. But if Notre Dame has a player flip from Notre Dame to another school, screw him. He can't keep his word. Like, guys, let's just don't be unfair. Just be one and hate all the transfer or the guys who flip to Notre Dame and hate the ones who flip out. Like, just be consistent. Just don't pick and choose. Don't be a hypocrite. Basically, just don't. If someone doesn't want to go to Notre Dame, they're committed there. Don't pull the how committed really were they? But then be super pumped when Notre Dame flips Kenny Minchie from Pitt. Just don't be a hypocrite. That's all.
Exactly. There's two sides to the coin, and recruiting.
Hold on, Trey. Or just yell at the clouds. Don't go to Twitter and yell at the Twitter. You yell at the kids' Twitter or Instagram.
Yeah.
Just go yell at the clouds. Don't take it to the kid. Because you're a grown man or woman, and these are literally children. So just take it
exactly. Easy. And I mean, these kids are, I think, a lot of them at this level are good at dealing with some of the pressures and the attention, but I can't imagine the amount of pressure after, you maybe find something else about another school and you want to commit there instead and you flip your commitment and then you have all these haters before you even get a snap or a down in. And, for that too, I think obviously recruiting is taken very seriously and the rankings and everything else, the stars that are given out, but who knows which 3-star ultimately is going to come to your program after a spot was opened up from a guy flipping or this or that. It's a wild world we live in, Mike, where the transfer portal is this active. Recruiting has changed so much here. But as we look at, kind of zoom out and look at this class a little bit further here around the country with Marcus Freeman in a true first cycle, what do you think, which area of the country do you think Notre Dame won the most? I know we talked a lot about St. Louis, Texas, some of these different parts. Which recruiter and I guess which area kind of had the most success out of this year?
Great question. A source I had, that was close to Notre Dame football program, and let's just say is no longer close to Notre Dame football program, once told me that recruiting for the Irish in the state of Texas is like beating your head on the wall. You can try, but you're just going to end up beating your head against the wall with no success. And for Notre Dame to have 2 of the best receivers from the state of Texas committed, Braylon James and Jaden Greathouse, Micah Bell, who is one of the fastest players in the country down there in Houston, and a 5-star safety committed, Peyton Bowen. Remember, when Peyton Bowen committed, it was like, oh, that's a nice commitment. He's like a 4-star, top 150 type player. sources at Notre Dame were like, "Hey, Mike, um, I mean, he's a 5-star. You guys will see." And I was like, "Okay, sure." You know how many times I've heard that, covering different schools over the past decade, but it's like, sure. Yeah, Notre Dame was right. I mean, they thought he was a 5-star from the get-go. He was a freak show at their camp when he was just going into his junior season, and now he's 5-star. So for Notre Dame to have those 4 guys committed and potentially get a 5th in Caleb Smith, they've definitely won the state of Texas. Like, gone in, wanted to get these guys, and has. Now, whether Peyton Bowen ends up signing with Notre Dame on National Signing Day, I mean, that remains to be seen. I think I touched on this earlier. Like, I think he's going to stick. Oklahoma people think he's going to flip. Will the truth be? We'll find out soon.
Such a fun player to follow here. And guys, I talked about a pretty fun book earlier. That kind of puts a little bit of South Bend into your home. How about a piece of memorabilia itself there? You can get a stadium piece from Notre Dame Stadium, jerseys, helmets, autographs, one-of-a-kind items. And you can get all that at Augie's Locker Room. If you're a passionate Notre Dame fan and you're looking for that special Notre Dame piece to complete your rec room, or hey, maybe a great Christmas gift as we approach the holiday season, you're going to want to go to augieslockerroom.com. That's AUGIES lockerroom.com. I'm not great at spelling. I think I got it there, Mike. You can check out exclusive pieces like a Joe Montana signed item, famous sculptor Jerry McKenna's miniature replica of the bronze statues around the stadium. If he doesn't have it in his store, Augie will find it for you. All you have to do is visit augieslockerroom.com or stop in at 1811, that's 1811 South Bend Avenue, and see the vintage helmet display dating back all the way to 1890. augieslockerroom.com, or you can call the number 574-277-NDND, 574-277-NDND, or visit augieslockerroom.com today. Talk about a selection like stadium pieces, jerseys, helmets, autographs, and like I said, if Augie doesn't have it, he will find it for you. So be sure, check them out there on their website, 1811 South Bend Avenue, or you can call them at 574-277-ND, like Notre Dame, Notre Dame. I love the signs there even that Chris had pulled up. You can get "We Play Like a Champion Today" signs, everything and more, guys. Go check it out.
This is kind of a random thing. You know the Barstool guy who does the pizza reviews?
Dave Portnoy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he does his pizza reviews, and there's always good stories with the pizza reviews, right? It's kind of with Augie, it's just like you meet him, and he's a character. He's an awesome person. His store is amazing. It's just one of those local things you just want to go to and experience. I don't know how to, I don't know if that I explained that well, but like just go. If you're in South Bend, go to Augie's Locker Room. Go buy something. Or, just go in there with the open mind of buying something, but just to look at what he has. If you're a Notre Dame fan, it's Christmas morning, just walking in there. And then it's even better if you walk out and, you spent some money and, tell them Blue and Gold sent you.
Yeah, no doubt, guys. And, imagine it's almost like a museum in and of itself with all the memorabilia and the pieces they have. Notre Dame was such a big brand. You can get merchandise anywhere. But, guys, this is authentic. This is one-of-a-kind pieces that you're going to want to check out there in South Bend. Or augieslockerroom.com. Be sure to check that out. You want to get us some questions here, Mike, as we wrap it up? Let's go ahead and get to Milton Fan 15. Thank you for patiently waiting, and thank you again for that super chat. Milton Fan 15 wants to know, Mike, why does Caleb have such a low rating? We touched on that a bit, but ultimately what led to kind of the start of his recruitment and why he didn't get the attention to start?
Yeah, like JJ Watt was a 2-star, and everyone's like, well, why was JJ Watt rated as a 2-star? These rankings guys are stupid. It's like, yeah, he had an offer from Western Michigan. Like, what do you want? You want all these rankings websites to like go into the depths and find all the 2-star guys and should be ranked as a 5-star? It's not quite the same with Caleb Smith, but it's like he just kind of flew under the radar. And On3 does do a lot more deep scouting than the other websites, right? I've worked at Rivals. I am familiar with what they do. And, it's just like, okay, here's the big names. So we're going to rank highly, but On3 looks at the big names, but they also dive so much deeper on guys like Caleb Smith. So if we can pull up his industry comparison page, you will find that he's ranked on 3 has him ranked highest out of all the websites. So an 89 ranking is actually if you scroll down a little bit, Chris. Nope, wrong way. Head back. Scroll down, hit industry comparison right there. Up. It's right there. Industry comparison. There you go. So on 3 has him ranked as the 60th receiver in the country. It's higher than 24/7. ESPN has even ranked him yet. In Rivals has him as a low 3-star. So I mean, it's like high 3-star. I think it's kind of fair at this point, honestly. I mean, he's a really nice looking player, but there are so many receivers in the country. So I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, why specifically is he not ranked higher? Like I don't rank the guy, so you're gonna have to ask the person who does rank him. But for comparison's sake, on 3 is actually highest on him than the rest.
Yeah, no doubt. And you said it. I think, being a wide receiver, it's so hard to separate yourself.
So many receivers.
It's insane. And, I think that leaves the ceiling for a lot of these guys that they have the potential to kind of, take some people by storm as they get to their respected schools. Wade Garrett would like to know, did they ever show interest in this Coleman kid that just decommitted from Nebraska?
I'll also add Quithion Smith. I don't think he's been like many camps, like been to the ESPN, whatever camps are out there. So that plays a part in it too. So yeah, I mentioned Nebraska. I said that earlier in the show. Like, I don't even remember what is he. I know he's listed as an athlete. I think he's kind of one of those just freak shows playing wherever.
Yeah.
So I mentioned him as someone who I do know Notre Dame had interest in. So I'm kind of like, do they kick the tires there? Or maybe there's a reason they hadn't offered already. But so yeah, I know at least they were interested in him.
Yeah. Wade, thank you for the comment. Guys, we got any last minute questions here? Feel free to get them in as we wrap it up. Like, just your closing thoughts on this week's show is, we wrap up the pie discussion as well as the discussion on Caleb Smith and everything else going on here as we get into December.
So Friday, you have Coaches Hit the Road, and I will have a report on that first thing Friday morning on where's Freeman going to be, where all these coaches going to be. So make sure you check that out at blueandgold.com. I keep hinting, or not, maybe not hinting is not the right word. I mentioned a few times, like if Notre Dame gets Hillman and Smith, right, that's 27, I think. I think they're going to get to 28 because I think there's going to be a surprise in this class. I'm putting it out there into the aura. I've got a gut feeling that, so I think that's going to be something to watch. These coaches are going to be hitting the road. It's going to be interesting to track where they all are at. And again, Friday morning, I'll have an article to let you know where all the Notre Dame coaches are at. And then all of next week, those coaches will be on the road. So it will be a very busy time to track. And then, yeah, leading up till National Signing Day, I just don't think it's going to be a quiet couple of weeks. I think it's going to be busy, especially with Notre Dame potentially landing, some transfer portal players. And then we haven't talked about this, but do any of the Notre Dame coaches get any other jobs? Like, do they go anywhere else? Does the Tommy Rees go to the NFL like it's been opined and rumored for a while? Last cycle, you didn't think John McNulty and Lance Taylor, after they said they were going to stay at Notre Dame and then got ACC offensive coordinator jobs, like unexpected things happen in college football. So just something to keep an eye on. Do Notre Dame have any coaches leave? And then how does that affect the class? And then, potential players who would come in with the new coach. So just very, very interesting. Never expect the expected when it comes to college football is what I would say. Because, yeah, I would expect the unexpected. So, yeah.
This time of the year, I think you're spot on, Mike, and really all times of year. But right now, guys, this is college football madness. Coaches moving around, transfer portal news. It's National Signing Day. Of course, the team still have the bowl game to go here as well. That's why you're going to want to go right there to blueandgold.com and check out all those articles like Mike said. And if you haven't done so, guys, already, subscribe to our channel. It'll allow you to get in the comments, and not just that, but it'll allow you to continue to stay updated on everything in the world of Notre Dame football. Hit that like button for me on the way out here, guys. But for Mike Singer and all of us joining around the world, Germany, Mexico, Montana, everybody except for the Netherlands, thank you for being with us today. We'll see you next week. Let's go Irish.